What's going on, my friends? Welcome on out to Behind the Energy Podcast, where we dive into behind the scenes of DJing, entrepreneurship, and all the excitement in between. We got some friends, some cool people joining us, and a lot of fun stories. So without further ado, let's jump into Behind the Energy Podcast. Bada bing, bada boom. Ladies and gentlemen, it is December 27th. It's a blizzard outside. I'm sitting here with my boy, Melqui. And we just launched the first episode of Behind the Energy Podcast Season 2 today. We survived and made it to the studio. Melqui, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It is a blizzard out there.
Had to do a little introduction. It's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute.
I honestly don't even know the last time we kicked it.
Oh, man. In school, for sure. I think.
Are you in your senior year?
No, I'm technically in my junior year. So, boy took a year and a half off. Okay. So, junior year. Third year, hoping to close out in 4 rather than 5, you know?
Bro, I was 5.5, so you're chilling like a villain.
Yeah, no. I've got one more semester for my third year, and then just as of right now, what it stands is that I'll finish spring of 2023, essentially.
That seems like a
that
ways
seems
away.
like a long ways away, but
it's going to be
it's
here.
like 3 semesters. So it's yeah.
Remind me and tell the people, what are you studying?
That's a great question.
Or are you still figuring that out too?
And as of about a month ago, I finally decided that I was going to major in finance. So right now that's the finance. It's the role. I'm at the business school. It was going to be operations, and there's a lot of things that come out really well with that program, like a lot of certifications that you get. But finance this semester, and the professor that I had for finance made me fall in love with it.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I bombed my first exam, but I really loved it, and I got a really good grade out of the end of it. So
I appreciate the honesty. Very interesting. I guess maybe to some context for the listeners. Melqui and I met at the U, students at the U. Do you remember the company and really kind of how that came to be?
Yeah, it was through the Lasan Studios.
Yes.
Now, to kind of sum that up is I got introduced to Michaela.
Yes.
And I don't think she does a whole lot with her photo business anymore, but at least what I remember, Off the Frames Photography was what it was called. Yep. And at it was a panel for the business students. We had a bunch of guys and girls come from Lasan, and
that's dope.
I had a question. I was sitting in the back of the room, and at the time, I had just bought a drone, and I thought I was hot shit. Sorry, I don't know if I was supposed to be swearing. I thought
you got your drone. You're so
I thought it was great, and I was like starting to make like super just like small little videos of like the U and campus and my experience, because I'm the first in my family to go to college, so to be up at the U and like have the scenery behind you was immaculate. And so I bought a drone, just kind of show everybody off where I was and everything. Exactly. Yeah. And at this panel, I got introduced to Michaela. I asked her like how her weddings work, if she's done videography before, if that's something she wants to add. She told me to follow up with her after the panel, and then after about a week, I had a sit-down conversation with her to convince her to invest in me.
Dude, I love that so
and
much.
I granted, I did not know anything about videography. I didn't know how to work a camera. I didn't know anything at all. But I was kind of inspired by one of my friends back in Minnesota who was doing this, who was making travel videos, who was, showing off his experiences at college and during the summers and stuff. And I was like, I can do that. I can do that. And so I kind of convinced her to spend her company money and her business money into buying a Nikon D800 for me.
Interesting.
And then I got introduced to Parker,
Dude,
and
it
was
it's so interesting because I was at that panel too.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember making a comment, like someone asked me, like, what do you attribute to making your college experience successful while being an entrepreneur? And I said a lot of caffeine, and I'm pretty sure like the people hosting it was not happy about that. But No, I remember the introduction. I remember early collaboration, especially I think the first event was at the formerly known as Infinity Event Center. You came to a high school dance and did photos.
Yes.
But
Do you remember that?
you're helping me connect a few dots. Maybe to connect a few dots for the listeners. Melqui is I guess you could say, I don't want to use the word videographer, filmmaker, correct?
Filmmaker
is that the more appropriate?
Filmmaker is a little bit more appropriate. Cinematographer is kind of the title that I'm going towards.
Cinematographer, Melqui Vasquez Films. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
MV
you.
Films.
MV Films. There we
MV
go.
Films.
First short, MV Films. Where can we find MV Films online? Melqui?
Instagram, you can go to mvfilms.co and that'll take you to my website. I have some work on there. Honestly, my website is nothing compared to yours. It is. Yours blows me out of the water.
Okay.
Blows anybody out of the water.
Thank you, but stop that. Thank you. I've been blessed.
But no, Instagram is a lot where you can see a lot of my work, and yeah, it's kind of blown up this past year and a half.
Mm-hmm. I feel like in the past year and a half, like I feel like there was a very almost distinct like time frame when it was like, all right, I'm doing projects in the film world and industry to like this is more of my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Was there something that happened or like a catalyst to making that transition for you? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. So I think it came April of last year, and obviously last year COVID. There was
so the month after COVID hit.
Yeah, the month after COVID hit.
Okay.
Most people will tell you that they lost a lot of business. Most people will tell you, especially in the wedding industry, which is what I jumped into. Most people will tell you that, there was a lot of scare because people were canceling events, and I think you even had some of that yourself. I fortunately, man, I don't know where it came from, and it definitely was a blessing, but I didn't have a single cancellation last year, and I was booking. As of March, I started booking clients and started collecting deposits. From there, all the way through the end of the year, I didn't have a single cancellation. And I started actually traveling more outside of Utah starting in September of last year.
Dude, I didn't even put that in my notes, traveling for events.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. We're going to have to take a moment to talk about that too.
Good. But yeah, that's been since August, I think, of last year was my first wedding entail. It was a bridal shoot of my two best friends who ended up getting married later in that month, but they didn't have the money for a videographer. They didn't fit it into their budget, and they also planned their wedding in like the span of like 3 weeks. And so it was super short notice because the venues were getting pushed out, and those dates, that date just became available, and they were like, we're going to jump on it now because we don't know if COVID's going to get worse throughout the year, and end up blocking that date again. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never had a wedding, but trying to plan a wedding in three weeks or even 3 months is a lot. But with the dates changing and availability of venues, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick second and talk about, I guess, the traveling aspect of your work. What was the biggest surprise? What was the biggest surprise that you've ran into in traveling for events and working with clients traveling, and what's been the funnest part of it all?
Oh man. So, biggest surprise, there is so much crap you got to bring to events.
Yeah.
And not enough luggage space. and the fees that come with that are extreme. So, if anybody is considering doing weddings, traveling, you 1000% need to book clients with a travel fee.
Melqui, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to figure out these
good.
lights. Viewers, I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm still figuring stuff out. I am listening. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Is that something that you did not factor in when you first started?
When I first didn't, I didn't. When I first started, I didn't.
Okay. Gotcha.
It was probably not till I think I had So the weddings that I booked in October of last year were weddings for, some of them were weddings for this year. I had a promotion in October with a photographer, with actually that friend that I made that bridal video for. She's a wedding photographer as well. Her and I jumped on a partnership.
Okay.
And started a promotion and said, hey, you can book the two of us for, I think we started at like $3,000.
Awesome.
For like a duo package.
Yeah,
yep.
starting.
And there's no travel fees. Now, we expected a lot of these weddings to come from in-state. What happened was we got like 40 inquiries from California, Washington, Arizona, Texas, Nevada, Colorado, Alabama. Like we did not anticipate these people reaching out because we hadn't planned for it.
Dude, I need to get in your marketing mind, because how are people reaching you? Anyways, please continue.
And so that's what we found is like we kind of shot ourselves in the foot because we didn't anticipate for it as we were trying to market clients here in Utah, and that's what it was for. It was like, hey, we don't mind driving down to St. George and spending $100 on a hotel. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, hey, we want you to come film our wedding in Alabama and Washington, and flights are $800 to get across the country. Now that becomes a little problematic when you're charging $3,000. And so,
did the promotion mention anything about like additional service fees or?
There was. We ended up launching a second promotion in December, and we only accepted a handful of those clients that were a little bit closer that we can justify the expenses. So we launched a second one in December specifically for those ones that made us travel, and it turned out a lot better. And there was not a ton of loss in, I guess, like from those original ones that did inquire. We still inquired quite a bit. I think in the year and a half that I've now been doing weddings, almost 2 years now, this year alone, I had 45 weddings. Just this year alone.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That is a lot of work.
It is too much work.
And not only on the day of, but I don't even know like the extent of the back end for the world of cinematography, videography. But I imagine you 3x that. Like the day of, and then the 3x that at
pretty
least.
much.
At least, yeah.
For me, if I genuinely have nothing going on and my schedule is free to the absolute max, I realistically can, if I put my power to it and take like 3 Red Bulls, I can get through a wedding in about 3 days from start to finish. Does that happen often? No.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have a life just like everybody else, and whether that's a date or family or other obligations, going to the bank, running errands, getting groceries, making meals.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I mean, you're clearly an entrepreneur. You have been for years. It's been 3-ish years since you've been in the industry. 4 years since you've been in the industry.
4 years. So 2017.
2017. Okay.
Yeah. 2017. Fall of 2017.
Done with 2021.
Yeah, I hit the 4-year mark.
I was going to ask you, do you ever, being so entranced or captured or connected to your work, do you ever like forget to eat, have meals?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like 7 hours later, and you're like, oh, I didn't have lunch, and it's now 9 p.m. and I should have had dinner 2 hours ago.
Well, at weddings and stuff, and events, like I don't find time to eat. I eat maybe something in the morning from the hotel. Sometimes I don't though, and then I don't eat till dinner.
Yeah.
So you're working a 10, 12-hour day. Yeah. You don't eat till dinner time. And then by that point, everything's slowed down though, so it's like less hectic. Really, the most stressful part for me is everything up until the ceremony.
Yes.
And once ceremony's done, everything's a party from there. Everything, you can breathe, you can relax, because nothing requires more attention and more detail than the ceremony and everything leading up to the ceremony. That's when you're getting ready shots, any group shots, any specific shots that were requested by the bride and groom, or any intricate details that you've got to get, kind of crossed off the list. If they want to do a first look, if they want to do a first touch, those types of things. Those all have to be fit into a schedule.
Yes.
And I love my photographers. I do. I appreciate the work that they do for this industry. But
what's up?
They have less equipment than any of us videographers to deal with.
Oh, okay.
if you are planning a wedding and you're taking a look at this and you're thinking that this is your DJ, 100% this is your DJ. But I'm going to let you know, please leave time for your other vendors to get everything done. And that doesn't just mean, you know, hey, it's a 5-minute thing between this thing and this thing. It's got to be closer to like 10 because you don't know what equipment we got to go and set up for that to happen the way that you want it to. Sometimes it's multiple cameras. Sometimes it's mics. And I got to go and double check mics for people. You know, there's a lot. And I've been doing this on my own. Yes, I could have hired people, and I did bring some people on board to some weddings and some events where I felt, you know, one, it was going to be necessary, or two, the couple had the budget for it, because there's only so much that I'm willing to pay somebody else, especially if I don't know them.
Well, yeah, it's gotta line up.
Yeah,
like skills, financially, the way you work together. That
and
totally
so
makes sense.
there were only a couple situations where I needed somebody else, but in hindsight now, it's like, yeah, I wish I would have had a second angle, or I wish I would have had a second person.
Melqui, sorry, you're. I'm making sure we're doing good on time. I also want to take a moment to pause or jump back to the component or the point you had mentioned about each vendor having their own contributions to a wedding, for example, and how, oh my gosh, you know what? This dang light is killing me. Yeah, we can just turn it off. Hey, listeners, viewers, I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to figure out this crap, but we're working on it. So anyways, Melqui, back to the point. You were mentioning how each vendor has their very own contributions to throughout the wedding day to ensure everything runs smoothly, and they get or do or execute on what they need to for the end result. I absolutely love that, and something I've come to learn as a DJ over the years is that I as the MC and as almost like the host sometimes, depending on how detailed we want to get, can help facilitate that. And so I'd love to show you one of these days, like just off camera, but we've got a pretty detailed itinerary or wedding planner that we use. And then before we do any activities or something, I circle around with the videographer and the photographer, let them know, hey, this is what we got in case y'all don't have that information.
Yeah.
Something I want to incorporate is like sending that out to the videographer, photographer, and the other coordinators to make sure that we're all on the same page, because you have a lot of equipment. You need to get the angles. You need to prep. It's not like 60 seconds. We're ready to shoot the first dance. Yeah. Especially when you want to get 3 different angles.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. and that's something that, like, you know, I've had out of all the weddings, I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 DJs that actually have were very, very well with me. And even at times I'm like, hey, can I steal your mic? And he's like, cool. Yeah, sure. So they turn on the mic for us, and we're giving instructions to either a large group of people.
You are?
Yeah, I am. Dude, oh, no. I will MC at any wedding at the highest level.
Okay. I love that. And I love that you take initiative to do that, but I've never heard of a videographer or another vendor outside of the DJ or the venue doing that.
Yeah. And
okay.
And honestly,
fair enough. I like it.
It's kind of my personality to where, like, I'm loud, but I'm really funny when you put me on a mic, you know, and I'll make jokes to make sure that people are, like, listening and paying attention, especially when the bride and groom or the event wants to get a group photo. It's hard to get a group of like 100 people to actually listen with just by yelling.
Yes.
So a microphone where you cut the music off, you get everybody's attention, and I can just kind of be myself and direct. Great, because I'll set it up for the photographer, and then everybody will start leaving. I'm like, no, hold up.
Hold the phone.
You got to do something for me too, okay? I'm here too to film and get something. So then I'll have either the couple like come to the front and kiss, and everybody yell in the back and like cheer and whatnot. And you know, I'll get my shot, and then I'll be like, all right, cool, thank you. All right, and then I'll turn back to the. And I don't know. It's just
I know that's not out of your comfort zone to get on the mic. Like, you're a very, very friendly, like kind, open person, and like enthusiastic. But how nice is it when you do work with a group of vendors that just work so seamlessly together?
Oh, it's my day flies by. Yep. I have less to worry about. I've been fortunate to work at probably some of the most incredible venues and have the nicest of staff at these venues. And I know that's not said for everybody. I know that there are some really bad experiences that I've heard from. But especially when I'm traveling, I haven't had a venue yet tell me, no, we can't do this, or no, you can't do this. And in fact, I'm gonna do a quick shout out to Kinship Ranch in Kromberg, California.
Yo, we're out in California right now, baby. Kinship Ranch.
Kinship Ranch.
Okay.
They are probably the most beautiful venue that I have been to. The lighting that they get from the mountains, because they're kind of in this little valley, and where the sun hits it, and just they're on top of everything. They had everything detailed and outlined for us, and if we needed anything, we could just run up and ask, and they would go out of their entire way and drop everything to give whatever we needed. And that
level of service.
Yeah, that level of service is unparalleled. And I think that's something that is very important when it comes to, working seamlessly with not just vendors, but the venue itself, because that's a huge aspect of where you're at is, who can you go to while you're in a pickle of like, hey, I got to be here, but I got to get this done. Is that something you think you can manage? That I love that. I love those venues that are just like that.
You use the term or the phrase unparalleled. Melqui, time is flying by on this episode. I apologize. I'm going to start drilling you a little bit, but help me. Maybe not help me, but describe to the listeners, the viewers, what makes your service as a well-seasoned, very experienced traveling, not cinematographer. Did I get that right? Cinematographer. Unparalleled. What is your sweet spot? What makes you shine?
Well, to what aspect? Like, are we talking weddings? Are we talking projects? Because here's the thing. Let me drop a bombshell. I'm not taking weddings anymore.
Oh, there it is, bro. I can't drop this.
I'm not a wedding videographer anymore.
I feel like I actually remember seeing some of that online, like how you're making that shift. Yeah. How about as a creative in the film and video industry?
Storytelling.
There we go.
Storytelling.
Okay. How about that?
That's the number one thing that I go after.
Okay.
When I book a client, a project, or whatever, my main goal is to figure out what it is that you're trying to convey. Okay. And for couples, it's a little bit not easier, but it is easier in the sense of I'm not trying to represent this brand to somebody, about something specific.
Gotcha.
When it comes to couples, it's about who they are as people, how they met, how their love differs from other couples, and what is it that led us to this point. And so I ask for those intimate details, those specific things. Are you wearing your grandmother's rings or earrings or necklace? Is there a spot here in this city that we're in that you guys felt was very special to you guys, so that I can go out of my way before I go to the airport and go film that? Those types of things that make that film at the end of it so unique to them that nobody else can say, oh, he did something really similar to ours, or wow, that looks really similar to our video. And there's a lot of videographers, and I don't mean to dog on anybody specific, but there's a lot of people who get the misconception that a video is just some shots to music, and it's not. There is so much that you can add with the audio by adding their vows, by adding any sort of letter reading that they do between the two, or any toasts, intimate moments where I just leave the mic on the groom and they are kind of walking off and we're doing some shots and I get something super sweet like, you just look incredible today, or wow, that dress is so gorgeous. Dude,
I'm over here getting the chills right now.
Maybe
you can feel it through the camera lens a little bit.
Those little things are so important to me, and that's where the storytelling aspect comes into play. So for me, I do a lot of prep work. Not a lot of fancy camera work, but a lot of prep work as far as how can I best convey the story to someone who knows nothing about them.
And in order to best convey it, sounds like understanding the story fully. I see. Okay. That was... he didn't know I was going to be drilling him with these questions. That was incredibly well articulated, and I literally felt that. Melqui, that was awesome, bro.
Appreciate it.
But dropping the mic on the wedding work. Anywho, actually, matter of fact, take 30 seconds. What are you looking to specialize in moving forward? Going into this brand new year, what is the focus?
It's a lot of more brand work, actually. Okay. I feel there's a lot of things that I don't know that I was kind of not necessarily limited to, but I didn't really get the opportunity to do when I was filming weddings. And that's more in regards of the editing and the post-production side of things.
Okay.
A lot more intricate edits and editing styles that involve a little bit more transitions and a little bit flashier product work, I would say.
Yeah.
If you want kind of an example, it's kind of like filming sports highlights. You know,
Okay.
there's a little bit more power and a little bit more speed to some of these videos, and that's what I'm trying to get better at. Vettings are very slow. They're very slow, and that's not that I don't like them.
Okay.
I want to get a little bit better on the editing side.
The two words come to mind: strategy and technique.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think those kind of fit in line with the direction as to
100%.
where your focus is going?
100%.
Okay.
Landon, by the way, is probably.
I was gonna bring up Landon. I'm texting him. We're scheduling an episode.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That was what I was gonna say. If you
Landon,
didn't have him on your books already, that is the number one person. That is. So I worked with him.
I saw on social media
on a DJI project. I didn't do any of the filming, but I was just there, kind of as an extra hand. And man, to watch some of those guys work the way that they work is unreal. It's unmatched to anything else that I've seen in person. Other videographers that I follow, I'm like, you guys we look like amateurs, and we are amateurs compared to someone like Landon, who's been doing it for years.
Okay.
But Landon, that if there's somebody that I want to follow and kind of adapt their style into my style, it's Landon.
Okay, so two things I want to comment on there. Landon, I met him DJing his high school dances at Alta. He was a year, I think, ahead of Nick, or the same year.
Really?
But he's done 2 promotional videos with Alive.
Yep.
I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Saw one of those. Yep.
And I've just on social media and being a supportive friend, I've seen him exponentially blow up, and it blows my mind. He's still moving. He's expecting another child here shortly, which is crazy. We'll have him on for another episode.
Corvette too.
If you're a videographer in the film industry, the storytelling industry, Melqui's one who's holding a lot of knowledge. I'm sure you're picking up on that. And then also Landon's coming. And then my friend and my girl Emily is going to be coming for another episode to again talk around storytelling through film. But
is that Emily B. Photo and film?
I believe it
worked with her once.
Yes,
I've worked with her once.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Emily Evans.
Yeah,
Emily Evans.
I think so. Yeah.
Her Instagram is like EV. Anywho, you'll see it. We'll listen to it. We'll watch it. We'll enjoy it. Melqui, we honestly didn't even get to walk through your entrepreneurial journey from that conversation at Lausanne and not that pitch, the panel to jumping all the way to traveling to different states and booking and now pivoting and going a little bit more niche. What I'm trying to say is we didn't even get to go into too much detail, but we do need to wrap up. I want to ask you another question or so to come full circle. I always try to provide like some form of educational value to those who are listening. This is really geared towards not just DJs, but people in the entertainment industry and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Someone who is new to the world of storytelling, or they had just got their camera and they're starting to get some of the basics. If you could give them a piece of advice or a tip to taking it to the next level, what would you like to tell them?
You're going to get a lot of crap.
Okay.
You're going to get a lot of crap. You're going to get a lot of hate. There's going to be people who are going to tell you that it wasn't good enough, that, you're not really doing enough or whatnot. For me, I've had those experiences, and very few. I'll be kind of honest about that. But my profile isn't as big as somebody like Landon. Like if you looked at Landon's videos, I'm sure he's gotten a bunch of comments that are not the nicest of comments. And it's honestly about just progression. You just kind of got to keep at it. Pick things off, little things that you can use in your storytelling or your videos from those people that you do follow. And if you're looking for advice, my biggest hack, I would say, to getting an answer from a specific person who's got 100,000 followers and, doesn't really see the comments all the time, is if you see something in a video, wait 2 or 3 days before you go and comment, because they're going to miss it. They're going to miss it if you go right in there. But if you wait 2 or 3 days, you go into the video and you at them in their own comment section, it actually pulls up as a higher notification for Instagram above everything else.
Dude, this is gold. If you're not listening, you need to be listening.
This is the number one thing that I have done when it comes to getting questions answered from Landon. When I didn't have his number, when I couldn't text him and just be like, hey, what's this? Or, some of my other mentors, Justin Taylor, for one, quick shout out there. He's the one who taught me everything I know about Sony cameras. Find your mentor. Find somebody who is in your industry, who is doing what you want to do, who is using similar cameras that you're wanting to use. I'm a Sony shooter. Justin's a Sony shooter. Landon's all Canon. So find someone who knows what it is that you're, trying to get into, and ask those questions, but ask very specific questions. Don't ask something like, "Oh, how'd you get to here?" And how did you do that? How did you do that? Ask something specific, and that little hack of adding them in their comment section will
2 to 3 days after.
2 to 3 days after is typically what I do.
Okay.
And you do that, and you want that. I have had 0 times where they haven't responded. So I have 100% success rate with that.
Dude, that's such a simple,
and it's such a hack.
Such a really cool hack. Melqui, I'm smiling because that is wild, but also I think I failed to mention my other point I wanted to comment on earlier. Seeing the success that you have had in 4 years, bro, like
Thanks,
it's awesome. And I feel like the wheels are turning. There's momentum, and this next year is going to be filled with a lot more great things.
Look at you too, man.
We graduated, bro. We're about to make some moves. Drop some more bombs. I'm not stopping weddings, so that's good news.
I have a couple for this year. I'm being, and the reason I say, I'm not taking weddings is because I'm being very, very selective with the ones that have inquiries for.
The best fit.
And I know that it is now about quality, definitely not quantity, because 40 weddings is great. But if you are burnt out and overworked and you are just not putting in the best foot forward when it comes to the editing because you're so overwhelmed, it's just not good for everybody. And it's an experience that you're robbing from somebody else. So.
Oh my gosh!
There's so much we could get into.
You are literally dropping so much knowledge right now.
There's so much we could
literally
get into.
have a whole podcast season on, but we have to wrap up. I gotta be more timely with these. Unfortunately,
mental health. Make sure you take care of that.
That's all.
That's the only thing I'm gonna drop with. If anything, I'm gonna leave with mental health. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other.
Entrepreneurs.
Make sure that you are looking out for one another, but make sure that your mental health is something you put forward. Because if you're not in a good headspace, you'll never be as creative as the next person next to you. So
this has been a whirlwind of knowledge and golden nuggets by Melqui Vasquez, MV Films. One more time on Instagram, where can we find you?
Yeah, it's actually the Melqui on
and
Instagram.
Can you spell that right quick?
Themelqui.
Thank you.
Picture me on my motorcycle. I have MV Films still on there, and I just kind of wanted to put my name, just so when it comes to introducing myself, it's like, hey, you can just look at my name and I'll pop up.
Hello, I'm Melqui.
Hey, I'm Melqui.
And I'm Parker.
Melqui.
The Melqui. The Behind the Energy podcast. I think this is episode 10. Oh, shoot. This is episode 9. Thank you, Nick. Episode 9 of Behind the Energy podcast. Check them out on Instagram. Grab all that knowledge, and we will catch you next week for episode 10. This is episode 9. Next week's episode 10. DJ Alive, over and out. Dude. That was gold, bro.
That was fun.
Seriously.
That was fun.
Seriously, man. You were dropping knowledge.
That was fun, man.
People that are in their first year or two, like they should be soaking.
That was fun. That was good stuff. That was way good.
And it felt good.
That ad is. I have 100% success rate with
that. That is dope. I never even thought about that.
You add them to their own comment section, and
you
can't not get a response because it's such a high level on Instagram.
You heard it first. Melqui Vasquez, ladies and gentlemen.
How's it going?
You already know what it is. Behind the Energy podcast, Nick Nord. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, people?
Look at that mustache, bro.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
It's been there, bro.
It's been there.